Billions of people around the planet already live without reliable access to clean water for drinking and agriculture, and as populations increase, the water problems will only worsen. The planet, on the other hand, has huge reserves of water, unfortunately, most of which contains salt, and the rest is found thousands of miles away from where it is needed. As Dr. Smalley pointed out, with sufficient energy, salty water can be desalinized, and it and/or fresh water can be transported to wherever it is needed. OTEC is the only way to provide the clean and renewable energy the world needs at the same time as you mitigate rather than exacerbate the world's climate problems. It can also desalinate water concurrently to producing energy, and its ramifications for crops and fisheries were addressed in the first installment of this series. Reducing the risks from climate change will require the conversion of a portion of the increasing thermal load being taken up by the oceans to other forms of energy, and/or the terrestrial taking up of much of the water that would otherwise raise the level of the oceans and inundate populated coastal areas, and/or the conversion of a portion of the water that would otherwise inundate coastal areas to its gaseous components, hydrogen and oxygen. As has been pointed out, one major problem with desert irrigation is the fact that the water required and/or the energy required to pump the water into the desert often have to be produced remote from where they are needed, and getting them to the desert can be prohibitively expensive. The largest of the hot deserts are located in the Middle East and North Africa, where crude oil is the major export commodity. An economical way of getting water to this region is as ballast in oil tankers deadheading to their home ports. The global capacity of the world's tanker fleet could carry about the same amount of water as Saudi Arabia is currently desalinating at significant cost. Crude oil tankers are designed for the bulk transport of oil and move large quantities of unrefined oil from its point of extraction to refineries. Crude oil tankers carry oil in their tanks from the point of extraction to refineries on the outward leg of their journey. After offloading their crude oil cargo at a refinery, empty oil tankers have to take on ballast water to ensure vessel trim and stability during the deadheading portion of their voyage. Prior to loading their cargo, the tankers must discharge the ballast water. Therefore, a productive use of this deadheading portion of a tanker's round trip would be to carry desalinated water from OTEC platforms, meltwater from the poles, or outflow waters from the major rivers in these tankers to their home ports on the deadheading leg of their journeys. According to the 2006 review of maritime transport by the United Nations Conference of Trade and Development, in 2005, total world shipments of tanker cargoes reached 2.42 billion tons, of which 76.7% was in crude oil, for a total of 1.85 billion tons. The specific gravity of Texas crude oil at 15.5 degrees centigrade is 873 kilograms per cubic meter, whereas pure water at 4 degrees centigrade has a density of 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. The world's tankers transport roughly the equivalent of 1.62 billion tons of pure water, which is 1.62 billion cubic meters. Saudi Arabia is the largest producer of desalinated water in the world. In 2004, the volume of water supplied by Saudi Arabia's government-operated desalination plants reached 1.1 billion cubic meters, and by 2009, new plants were expected to add an additional 0.58 billion cubic meters, which brought the total to roughly the same total as tankers could carry. Saudi Arabia could therefore double the 32,000 square kilometers they currently have under irrigation at little to no cost.